Good evening, everybody. We are coming at you live from the Liminal Pines. I am your host, the one, the only, Alan. That's my name, baby. And don't wear it out. Hello, everybody. It's been a long time. By a long time, I mean it's been about 2 weeks since our last little live vis-a-vis face to face one-on-one talk. I need to turn this light down. It's like blowing me out. If you can't tell, I'm looking really rough. I got blemishes all over my face. I've been stressed as hell. I've been going through a lot. Not really. I've been going through a lot, but I've also not been going through a lot. I'm going through a reasonable amount that a reasonable person would go through. And one of the things that I have been going through over the past 2 weeks is that we have, I guess but this is this is a community thing. You and I, have reached 500 subscribers on this channel. That is 500. That is 5 times 100. That is 25 times 4 times 5. That's an insane amount of people. So when I first started this channel, I did not think that I would get anywhere remotely near 500 subscribers. If I say this all the time, if you were to take the amount of subscribers I have and put them in a room with me, I would be afraid because they would be after me. Not only that, that's a ton of people. And I know that maybe not everybody that subscribes even knows what my channel is. Maybe some of these people that have subscribed are bots, and maybe some of them are stalkers who have formed a parasocial relationship with me. And I fully encourage that. I think that if you want to become a parasocial a parasocial parasite, you have my blessing. I am your friend, and I know who you are. And if you come up to me and talk like we've known each other for years, I have known you for years. But jokes aside, thank you everybody for the 500 subscribers. It's been great. Here's hoping that we get 500 more subscribers, and then 500 after that, indefinitely. Because this train, once it's left the station, it never gets off the track. Is that an apt metaphor? I'm not sure. But I don't really know how I can celebrate having 500 subscribers more than just doing what it is that I already have been doing, which is just obviously drawing, because that's what we are all here for. Is just to draw, to create things, to garner a sense of community with other like-minded individuals who also wish to create things and want a environment that is conducive to such an endeavor. Hello, Lizard Wizard. I saw you commented on my short earlier. I apologize for not replying. I've been very busy today. I'm gonna say why I've been busy here right now, actually. This is the start of the show and tell segment of the stream. That's what we're calling this. I need to make a little like thingy up that pops up here that says show and tell, because it seems like that's a weekly segment that we do. But last night I went to a little concert, and I may or may not have seen one of my favorite bands of all time. I saw Lord Huron live. Sweet sunset sarsaparilla. My camera. Sorry, this thing is like, it's I get to look at my face for a little bit. My camera is very not my camera. My camera is my phone, and I have a little stand, but the way that the thing tightens is the opposite way that my phone naturally like sticks to gravity. You can see a little mannequin there. I put the phone on the wrong way. Stream highlights. Can someone clip that? Could someone clip that and like make a YouTube poop out of it? Thank you. Um, what was I saying? Yeah. Well, what I was trying to do, I was trying to point my camera down a little bit more. Last night I saw Lord Huron live. One of my favorite bands of all time, and it's been a while since they have toured for an album out where I live. And let me just say, it was one of the best concert experiences I've had as far as performance goes. Performance of an artist. It was a blast. They played a lot of my favorite songs. Um, but like something that was really weird, and like tell me if you've ever had an experience like this in any regard. Like when I got to the concert and like obviously like I have been so emotionally touched by this band's music, and I have developed these emotional connections to these songs that I feel are very unique to myself. But then it's like then you get into the crowd of thousands of people, and you sort of dissolve into the background, which I found was a very weird experience because I was looking around and I was all like, maybe not all of them like were like mega fans of the band, but like I'm sure a great percentage of them were. And then I was just like had a moment where I was all like, I need to like drop my ego for a moment while I'm here and just be like of course like this concert is for me in a sense, but like it's also for a bunch of other people. And even then it's like maybe it's not even for the people, it's for the band performing, it's for the band making their art. And so like I had a weird, it was like almost existential is the feeling that I was having. Which it's not a feeling that you get very often whenever you're engaging with art. What do I mean dissolve into the background? Um, yeah, I don't know. I don't. I just had I just had an intense existential feeling, like where it's like my individuality sort of like I don't know a better way to describe it than like my individual self kind of dissolved and dispersed. I was not taking drugs, by the way. This is not a drugs experience. This is just a me being reflective experience. But I just like I feel like I had to drop my barriers and let go of my sense of individuality, and it kind of made me feel like kind of small and and insignificant in the moment, you know? Which is I was I thought you were on acid. No, I was not on acid. I don't do party drugs. I don't do drugs like in public. If I'm going to partake in anything, even if I have or have not, if I were to partake in anything, even like I don't know, maybe not caffeine. Caffeine's not a good thing. I would not do it out in public just because like I have a paranoid personality sometimes. But yeah, I felt that that experience I had, like I had a really good time. Don't get me wrong, the music was great. I had a really good time, but like I couldn't help but feel that it was very like on brand for the type of music Lord Huron makes, because a lot of their songs are centered around individuals who feel as if they are floating amongst the cosmos. How they feel like they're wandering a barren earth with no sense of individuality. They always feel like they are searching for something but can't find it, uh, and they have to sort of come to terms with that. And I feel like I was having one of those moments. So like in a way, I'm happy to have felt that way. I don't know. It was a very it was humbling in a lot of ways. I just like I don't know, because I've seen a lot of artists that I enjoy live, and I hadn't gotten that feeling before. But I guess when you're so emotionally invested into a piece of art, or into I guess many pieces of art like that, you expect to get there and you expect the red carpet to be rolled out for yourself, but that's not what happens, and I'm okay with that. That's okay. That's just how life is. We create our own meaning through our own individual experiences. So as long as I had a good time, then I had a good time. That's what I want to everyone to take away right there. Okay. Um, let's get into the let's get into the meat and potatoes of the stream. We're gonna take a look at my sketchbook, and we're also going to be taking a look at this is a little piece of show and tell I have right here. This is a collection of this is a collection of Winsor McCay's editorial works. Duh, that's what the thing says. Um, if you don't know who Winsor McCay is, he is considered not the father of modern comics or just comics in general, but he's one of the pioneers of sequential storytelling. He had a lot of editorial works. He's most famous for a couple of things. The one that I know him most for is Little Nemo in Slumberland. Very old, like early 1900s, probably like 1902, I want to say, released in newspapers. But he's one of the pioneers of paneling and comic composition, and there's a lot of really good stuff in here. This doesn't include a lot of comic art necessarily, but it has a lot of really good pen and ink compositions. So we'll take a look at that. Your message cut off, but I'm glad you enjoyed it. Thank you. I only hope that we can all enjoy the things that we enjoy. All right, so let me go ahead and get that camera right here pointed down here so we can take a look at what we have been working on. So I'm going to switch to a little buffer right here. I call it a buffer. I don't know if that's actually what you would refer to this as. So I know it's been a week. How has everybody been faring? Has anything interesting happened to you? I've already stated all of the really interesting things that have happened to me, which is like not a lot, of course, but yeah. Oh, another thing I did, I finished Vagabond Volume 3, though I believe the folks in chat are aware of that. I put out a short for it earlier today, so if you haven't seen it, go and check it out. But there's a short up on the channel of my review of the third volume of this comic, this manga I've been reading. It's a very good manga, so please, again, check that out if you haven't seen it. You might find a new favorite. Vagabond is amazing. It is such an amazing manga, and I'm taking my time with it as I take my time with a lot of things, but I don't just read slow. I look at everything analytically. So I read with intent, I guess you could say. Okay, let's fade, and voila. This right here is a collection of Winsor McCay's editorial works, as I just said, responsible for comic paneling. Not he's not responsible for it. It existed before him, but he was a true pioneer of it. By the way, how's the Superman movie? Did I enjoy it? Oh yeah, I did see Superman. Yeah, I did. I did enjoy it. I didn't love it. And I didn't dislike it. I just liked it. I quite liked James Gunn's interpretation of Superman. Just sort of being just a overall good guy. So I really enjoyed that aspect. I think Cornsweat did a fantastic job. But Lizard, you were right. The plot was kind of disjointed, and I see why, because spoilers for the movie for those who haven't seen it, but it's sort of separated into 4 separate days, and so it feels very disjointed because a lot of different things happen on each day. Some of them don't feel very like there's a thematic through line, but also it's like there's no neat transition from one day to the next, so it just feels very choppy. But with that being said, I think the movie was it's of course trying to set up a new universe for other stories to take place in. It had a lot of things that it needed to do. And while it might have failed on being cohesive, I think it did a very good job introducing us to a universe that is believable, fun, and conducive to holding interesting characters. So I enjoyed that, and I enjoyed Lex Luthor. I thought he was a very fun villain. I like how he was just a hater. I The other villains were kind of hit or miss for me. I thought the overall conflict of there being this war happening in the Middle East, which is a pretty much not so subtle allegory for Israel and Palestine. I don't want to say it felt heavy-handed, but it felt very disjointed from the rest of the narrative. Like you have everything going on in Metropolis, and then you just have this Middle Eastern country, which like I know Superman can be Mr. Worldwide. I get that. But I don't know. I it felt like a very strange way to start off this this new Superman, like the new Superman lore. But like I like how it sort of like turned into this little conspiracy thing for a bit. It's like oh like what's the purpose of this? Like who's benefiting off of this war? Like I thought that was interesting. It just felt very odd for an introductory superhero film. Uh, but I enjoyed it. I did enjoy it. I'm definitely looking forward to seeing more of these characters, seeing more of this Superman. I want to see more of Guy Gardner's Green Lantern because he seems like such a fun character, and I just want to see more of him because Nathan Fillion is the goat. Okay, I'm just gonna flip through this right here just so you can like get a vibe of sort of what Winsor McKay is about. The reason I bought this book is because I want to do some studies of uh like specifically his line work. Like I love his hatching. And, like I love the cast shadows here. Same with this right here. Uh when I was reading through this and flipping through it, I was kind of smiling because a lot of this is very because it's editorial, that means it's a lot of times very political and has to do with current events in newspapers. And what was happening at the time of this, of course, was World War I was going on. So you have a lot of pieces that are very relevant to sort of America's involvement with the rest of the world, American isolationism. So, but also like civic issues, the the cost of war on the American individual, like caring about being a civilized country, things like that. But it's also interesting because it's like okay, it's like what does he consider? Like what did McKay consider at the time? It's like what was the ideal America for him? Like what were his values? How have they changed over time? Does he have any biases one way or another? Um, and it's a very fun thing to sift through, as it says right here. But he has really good caricatures of like rich people who are like greedy rich people, greedy rich dudes. He also has this. I love this one right here because it's sort of like he's imagining people on Mars looking at Europe from through a telescope, being like, these silly humans on Earth, all they do is fight each other, but we're better than them. And look at our big uh, civilization with 18 trillion people just standing around looking at this going on. That's funny. Some of this is very striking too. Like this right here, it's like this is back in the like 1914. This feels very like like modern in a lot of ways. Well, it would have been modern at the time as far as like modernism is concerned, like being a movement around World War One. But he has a very firm understanding on silhouette and shadow. I love this one right here. I feel like I've seen this composition in a lot of different mediums. Wait, this is from Breaking. It's a Breaking Bad reference, man. What the heck, Jesse? I think this one is cool. That's a very cool image. That one's really cool as far as just sort of like the values. It leans on like being very dark. Some of them he like keeps the contrast very low, which is not my favorite, but it works, I guess. He does this thing a lot too, where he'll have like really large individuals dealing with smaller humans, you know, and these individuals sort of stand for like larger concepts, and I think that's really cool. Like Uncle Sam here, representing America, he's like incredibly tall. You have this beast of war that's massive. There's a really cool one. I don't know if we passed it or not. This one's a really neat composition right here. That's so dope. It's like separated half, but it's also got this, because of the perspective, it sort of guides your eye down this way. Yeah. There's this really cool one, and I can't remember if we passed it, but it's this large butcher that's sort of standing over a counter. And he's like cartoonishly large. That's a cool one, little skeleton. And to think that a lot of this was done on paper, like originally, traditionally. Okay, it's not a butcher. It's like it's like a merchant or whatever. But like, look how like massive he is. He's like a giant. But that's such a cool image. He certainly knows how to exaggerate very efficiently, and it creates a lot of interesting visual symbolism depending on like what's being exaggerated. And yeah, so if you haven't heard of Winsor McCay, go check him out. I want to do some studies from that fella. Next, we have my sketchbook and Zero Sugar and W root beer. Yum yum yum, that's so good. We'll start, or we'll start. We'll start here, I guess. We did that on a stream. Here's some more expressions. These were freehand, I believe. I think these two were freehand, or maybe it was just this one, so I didn't do any penciling underneath. Be the judge of if those are good or not. I'm really focusing on expressions. My Loomis heading is still not good, and that's something I'm going to try and work on, especially as we're going into the next sketchbook, and we'll talk about more of that as we move on. But we have more portraiture. Here we have some landscapes. I was trying to find photos with strong uses of perspectives. And so this, if you remember our little stream on 3-point perspective, this will be a 3-point perspective. We have a vanishing point that's up here that it's moving towards, along with, technically there's 2 points here and here. You can kind of tell, it's insinuated through the curvature of these cylinders that there are planes on the left and right of this, so that would be 2-point perspective. This right here, kind of focusing on silhouettes, not trying to have any actual lines, no hard lines. Yeah. And then here we have, this is like a vomit page. This is me just like being bored and kind of just like drawing whatever. Not my favorite thing to do, to draw without direction, but I guess sometimes it does happen. Here's a If you ever are bored of just drawing people flat out, look up online fisheye perspective portraits of people and try drawing those instead, because the fisheye lens will exaggerate certain parts of your character, or of the human figure in interesting ways, and sometimes those can be more fun to draw because it's not just the same old proportions each time. So you can sort of play around with sizes and everything. Now keep in mind you're still using a simple Loomis head method. It's like, but because certain things will be closer to the camera, they will of course be enlarged, while things further away will be smaller. And so you can sort of play around a bit more with your shapes and everything. This is just a poem. I really don't know what to say about it. I write poems sometimes because I'm a little idiot. Well, I'm a little poem idiot. Here's some more portraits that I did. I just went over afterwards with ink and sort of just kind of blocked them in. But these are not freehand. These are just done with pencil, ink. He says, wait. He says, wait. Wait, what? Move back for the poem. Out to you if you want to read it. It's literally nothing. It's a bunch of word vomit. When I go into sort of just like writing poetry, like normally I don't set out having a regular meter or rhyme or anything. I kind of just write what I think sounds cool in the moment, but maybe sometimes that's what art is. And sort of just trying to talk about things that are on my mind, not so directly, is the goal. You know what I mean? So that's kind of how I approach poetry, maybe even writing sometimes. Is that good? Like, did you get enough time to read it? Wait, how about this? Well, I need to go grab something real quick. So while you're reading that, I'm gonna go and grab something that is necessary for the stream. Okay, I'm back. Sorry about that. It was necessary because I have something here that's going to pertain to the sketchbook, the whole finishing the sketchbook thing. So, and of course, wake up there. Awesome, you've read it. Cool. Thank you. You don't have. It's cool. You don't have to analyze it. It's again like word vomit. Sometimes like my sketchbook is like my journal in a lot of ways too, so it's kind of just through like working through ideas, things that are going on in the brain. But one thing I did while I was out and about seeing Lord Huron, I stopped by this one place and I got this cool little sticker from this little booth, and you can, their handle is right there, Super Saiyan E. So if you like this sticker, go ahead and check them out. But I thought, let's support an artist and also have a cool sticker to put in the sketchbook. If we're going to be talking about journaling in any way. That's awesome. This is a Power from Chainsaw Man. If you haven't seen Chainsaw Man or read Chainsaw Man, I recommend you
go and do that right now because it is seriously such a good manga, such a good anime too. But the anime is not finished yet. But the manga, ooh, really is something special. Today is the 26th, correct? Yeah. Heck yeah. Yeah, you know where I hate power. That's funny. Yeah, she sucks. Uh, I like Power, mainly just because she is just like disgusting. You know what I mean? Like she is just like there's no sugarcoating it. Just she is just a freaking like a disgusting idiot. It is a cool sticker. And that's what I like about her character is that I think she is just like nasty. She doesn't like clean up after herself. Um, and she's just like she's naive and she's just like stupid. Uh, but she's cool with Denji, so she's cool with me in my book. So we'll give her that. Um, but yeah, that's where we've gotten to in the sketchbook currently. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 if you count the back. So more or less half a month's worth of sketchbook left if we're talking about a page a day, though it depends because some days I might do 2 pages, or some days I might not. Some days I might do half a page. So about half a month's worth of sketchbook left, which means that once this sketchbook is retired, lovely sketchbook, we will be recording a short. For the sketchbook, we'll be recording a long form dive into the sketchbook, hopefully with better timing. This time I won't procrastinate on it, but because I like the sketchbook a lot, I do want to sort of like give this one some special attention because I feel like I've grown a lot with the sketchbook. But after that, we will be moving on to this sketchbook right here. This will be the next sketchbook. So this is a Moleskine art sketchbook. Notice that compared to other Moleskine sketchbooks I have used in the past, it is smaller. And that was intentional. I thought long and hard about it, and I thought that having a smaller page will, one, help me finish it out slightly faster, but also it will make it more portable than it was before. And this sketchbook I plan on taking with me almost everywhere I go, and I want to sketch from life. Like I want to go out in public anywhere I go, and I want to sketch what I see in front of me. So that is the purpose of having a smaller sketchbook, and hopefully that'll allow me to get ideas on the page quicker. I want to start getting into using my sketchbook as a place for like not just like practice but also for ideas. I want to start idea generation with this sketchbook right here. Not that I don't already, but I want this to explicitly be for that purpose. So that's where we're going to be moving next. Those are the steps moving forward. This is, as you can see, it's 165 GSM. Would I recommend Moleskine sketchbooks? I like them. They're a little expensive. This was about $30. I do work a full-time job, and I make enough money to support myself and to have some spending money, so I am okay with spending $30 on a sketchbook, but like maybe you aren't. And so I will say there are you can get good sketchbooks probably that are better than this for cheaper. But as it is, I enjoy these little Moleskine sketchbooks, and I like this little pocket that they always have in the back for storing things, and I like that they have a strap that I can put my pens in, and I do like the way they feel on the outside. I'm gonna print a Liminal Pines sticker and pop it on the front of this at some point to decorate it. But this is gonna be the next sketchbook, and see, it's nice and it's like as big as my hand, so there should be no excuse for me not to bring this along with me. And like, I can just bring along a single pen with me in my pocket. I could fit this in my pocket if I really wanted to, but it's like some days I could use this pen, some days this pen, some days this pen, and yeah. The portability, I have a small sketchbook, and it's is its power. Yeah, you're right. Which is why I don't like the really big sketchbooks that I have, just because I can't really bring them a lot of places. But this will be one of the best sketchbooks I ever did. Just you wait. I want to bring it to me to like museums and stuff. I think museums would be fun. Okay. I need to do something real quick. I'm gonna stay talking here with you, but I need to do something on the computer here momentarily. But I want to. I need to set something up real quick because I have a surprise for you. Part of the relevance of this relates to sort of needing a smaller sketchbook to get through things quicker and to generate ideas, so on and so forth. It is going to relate to what I am about to show you, so I need to, of course, the computer is getting hot. Not too hot. Not terribly hot, but hot. It's not getting hot. That's a lie. Need to in studio mode. Perfect. I want to show you something that I have gotten that is going to be a big change for me, and it is going to be an amazing tool for me to use as I am moving forward in my art journey. And I'm hoping that this won't alienate the people who have come to expect a certain level of quality from me. But just rest easy when I say that what I'm about to show you is not going to be a full transition from one thing to another, but a valuable tool for producing higher quality output going forward in the future. So I'm gonna go ahead and pop that in there, and I'm gonna show you. This right here is, I got a drawing tablet. It's a drawing tablet. Yeah, I went ahead and I picked up a somewhat cheap but reliable digital drawing tablet. This right here is an XP Pen tablet, obviously. It is actually called the Deco 01 V3, and this is an amazing tablet. Ghostly Kid is in here. They have the same tablet, I believe, and they helped me decide to get this one right here. But I thought that I need to start being able to have the means to produce quality pieces of artwork. Not that my previous things haven't been quality, because they are of a different quality. They like digital quality, and by that I mean like scans and things having to do with like resolution, file sizes, printability, because if I want to do a large scale print in the future, I need to be able to have decent output. And the only way I could do that is by using a drawing tablet and also drawing software. This, oh my goodness, I hate looking at this right here, but this is this is Krita. This is my free drawing software of choice, and this is such a rough piece of artwork that I did in like an hour maybe, and I was just messing around with a bunch of different features, but it looks awful, and that's okay. As you can tell, line quality sucks, construction sucks. The Loomis head is not Loomis heading, and that's okay. But this is Krita. This is my drawing software of choice, and of course, my drawing tablet here is able to sort of, it has pressure sensitivity, and I can do a bunch of very fantastic things with it. Such as draw with the little thingy. I also have the ability to control V with it. Looks freaky. It does look freaky. You are right. I simply must agree. But I'm very happy to be able to use this here. I need to remember what my hotkeys are because I don't really remember what my hotkeys are. Yeah, should be that. Okay. Creepy autocorrect. It does look creepy. I agree. I did it just of a photo I took of myself, and I sort of had it to the side as like as a reference, and I freehanded it, which I shouldn't have done. I really should have just like traced it. Well, a transparent background. But yeah, this is it. So we're gonna go ahead and close that. And we are going to go ahead and we're going to open up a new image. And here's the thing that I need to play around with. I don't know the perfect settings for files here. Currently I had it set at a 2316 by 2316 at a 400 ppi pp. And so that's sort of what I'm going to stick with here because it gives me a square aspect ratio, and I went based off of like a photo that I did that was I guess it was like either 1080p or 4K, or well it would be like 2K if it's like 2000 by 2000, right? So this would be like a 2K file size. That's what we got right here. I'm gonna go ahead and I don't need you staring at my hands the entire time. So I'm gonna flip my camera back up here so you can look at my face while we're doing this. Are you able to? Okay, there might be some freaky stuff going on here with my capture. Okay. I need to keep an eye out to see if like, because like OBS does weird things with application captures, so I'm gonna have to make sure that this stays up so you can see it. But this is gonna be our canvas right here. Let me get this. I need to figure out how to stream the digital art as we move into the future. I need a second monitor is what I really need. I need some way to be able to have OBS open and then this open on another monitor, because I could just capture one monitor and not the other. Just my bad. Turn you off. So what I want to do this stream is I want to sort of like explain like how I can use how I can use this new digital medium as a tool for growth, in order to support my artistic endeavors moving forward. That's what we're gonna do here. Fade. Hello, you can see my silly little face. Pop out of that. So, one thing that I like about Krita is that it gives you like a ton of options. Not that I know much about options with digital formats, but I know that this offers like a very decent amount of freedom. Can you see that? Wait, can you when I draw on there? Can you see that? Is that updating? Because on my OBS preview, it is not updating. Let me know if you can see that. If you can't see that, then that might be an issue. I might have to figure something out if that's not the case. Wait. I'm drawing a little smiley face right here. Can you see that? Can you guys see that smiley face? Blink twice. Blink twice if you can see that smiley face. Blink once if you can't. Because I cannot see it in my preview. That's annoying. Would I have to do a window capture instead? I'll have to see that. Can you see that? Wait, can you see that? Oh, you should be able to. Oh, you should totally be able to see that. The aspect ratio is a little odd here. Okay, I think you should be able to see what's going on here. Forgive my stream antics. I'm just gonna put myself in the corner here so you can get a good amount of visibility. I'll point the light to be a bit pointed on me. This right here, I have a lot of different options, of course. Like with the pen, I'm able to sort of do a lot of erasing. I can also just erase things. I went through and I sort of picked out different brushes that I enjoy, and I'll give you a little walkthrough of ones that I have here. First off is just your basic like hard brush. You can see that, right? That is updating. It is updating, yes. My camera is not centered. I think I need to be like that. Another good thing about this tablet is that I can keep good posture while drawing. Okay, you can see. Okay, I can keep good posture because I can sit up straight while I am drawing, which is going to be beneficial for like my back and my wrist going forward. But it's also a learning curve because it's not like a one-to-one with the monitor in a lot of ways. The second brush that we have here is this is your basic 5 brush, but it has different opacity depending on how hard you press and different thickness. So this will be, I figure this will be a good brush for like line art or just even like sketching, because I can like sort of, you know, I can do a lot of, it can be really bright, or if I need to like darken up an area for shadow, I can sort of do that. You know what I mean? So I figured that for if I need to ever do something where I need to like share a piece of physical artwork that I did online, I could first import it into this program, and I could clean it up and sort of add to it using the brushes and certain effects that the program has to offer. So it can offer a better, cleaner, more visually enjoyable piece of artwork going forward. Of course, I would be doing a lot of the work traditionally, but this just opens up different avenues for me to be able to sort of experiment, try new things, and like most of all, like learn. Like for instance, I mean, I can. There's a way to do this. Oh wait, I think it's up. I know there's a tool in here to do so. I can do this. Oh my goodness. I don't remember how to use everything in here. I think it's view. Um what am I searching? Wait, I could just do this right here. How do I show reference images? I know there's a way to do paste new image, copy, edit. I don't know. There's a way in here to sort of like bring images. See, this is the big thing. I don't know how to use this perfectly. So I know that there's a way. Scale image. This has to deal with images. Image split. I can import. Ugh. This is annoying. Okay, I'll research it in a minute. But my point being is that I'll get better at this as I learn the program better. I can import reference images to have sort of like on the side here, you know. But also I can import pieces of artwork, including my own line art, into the program, and I can like draw over them, erase, whatever. But also, I figured that I could import if I need to study anatomy or different things. I can import images to do it quicker and faster in here. But also, I think that like tracing is a very valuable tool when it comes to sort of like learning shape and form. So like I could do tracing exercises very efficiently here on the computer. That's basically what I'm getting at. This is pencil 2, by the way. And by 2, I believe it just means it's a simple pencil. It's like a soft pencil. This is... Some of these vary in different ways. This is like a rougher, softer pencil, I believe. So it's got some like texture, as you can see right there. I think you can just drag the file into our canvas. I should be. I think so. I could do that from my desktop, but I don't have any on my desktop currently. Well, I do have some in my Finder, actually. You want to see something crazy? Oh, yeah. I can insert it as a new layer. You're a genius. I know there's a move tool, but does that move the image? Can't crop the image from there. It's probably this right here. Yikes. Can I hold Alt and do it? Kinda. Yeah. The zoom stuff is just very, very odd to use as well. I'll figure out. I know there's a way to sort of like crop it. Hold Shift. I know. Oh, you're right. I was holding Alt. I don't know why. Oh, you're a little genius at this. But like what I can do right here is I can take it and I can unlock the opacity. Hold Shift while zooming. Let's see. Anyways, can drop that right there. And then I can go to my paint layer and then I can do this. I can use the image below and I can draw over it, sort of do whatever it is that I need to do here with the image underneath. You know what I mean? And of course, I'm going to be practicing a lot with like like my muscle memory when it comes to drawing on a tablet, because it is considerably different, and I need to study it. And we're gonna do some of that here today. We're gonna be messing around with different aspects. But you know, I can do all of that. We're gonna go ahead and we're going to remove this layer. It doesn't feel weird when you can't see the canvas. Do you mean, does it feel like when I can't see what I paint? Oh, you mean like directly? You mean like if I'm looking at I'm not looking down at my hand, um, and like I'm not having like a physical piece touch the canvas and seeing a line. I'm like, there's like a disconnect. It's like I do something with my hand, but I'm like looking forward, kind of. If that's what you mean, then yeah. Yeah, I have done digital. When I was in middle school, there was a period of time where I did use a drawing tablet. So like it's not as weird of a concept for me, but it is different. My big issue is sort of like if I turn my drawing tablet 90 degrees and I draw on it, I'm like pushing up on my pen right now and it's going sideways. So the biggest learning curve for me essentially has been that this tablet is not going to move whenever I move it side to side. So I need to keep it pretty much completely like parallel with me, you know what I'm saying? And I need to get used to that. But I do have it where is it? I have it hotkeyed here so I can rotate the canvas. With the press of a button, I can rotate it 15 degrees. So hopefully that can alleviate some of the weirdness with not being able to physically turn this. It is a weird feeling, and I feel like my lines and my trajectories are not really good with it. So it's definitely something I'm gonna have to get used to. But like I feel like when it comes to like having to like, especially I want to make comics and I want to make prints, and I want to make things that I want to make things that I can like, this sounds scummy, but like sell to people. So like I want to be able to the hotkey is really cool, and I can bind different things to the hotkey. I went through and I played around. I can also zoom, but the thing is it doesn't zoom onto it does not zoom onto the brush. It zooms just like whatever the center of like whatever is in the center already. Wait, do you want to see another really cool hotkey that I have right here? I have flip canvas, but not just flip canvas from the center. Like it's not flip canvas from here. It's flip canvas from where my cursor is. So here's like that's like the one of the really cool things that you can do with digital art is that you're able to make micro adjustments with complete ease. And I feel like I've like trained myself with the traditional medium to sort of make mistakes. And so like I feel like this is a natural progression of that. I feel like I'm not going to be abusing the undo key as much maybe as I would normally. I mean, I'm abusing it right now. But also it's like you can't really do this with like you cannot do this easily with a traditional sketch unless you have like really thin paper. But like say I was like drawing like a face with a like a clown right here, just way too thin. Let's say I was drawing like a person right here and I was like, oh, it looks really good to me. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna flip it. I was like, if you're able to like flip it from the center, you can sort of point out mistakes better. Specifically, you can also point out like asymmetries. Like when I did that right there, I noticed that like the head right here sort of is like leaning in this direction quite a bit. So it sort of pointed that out. And that's a really useful tool for sort of creating balance within a composition. That makes I've used that. You're about to say that for leaning traditional is better because it forces you to think and not to make mistakes with ink. And which is why I'm still going to be doing a lot of traditional art, and that's why I wanted to get like a smaller sketchbook. So my thing though is like with the digital art, I am not able to do this anywhere else but this specific desk when the power is on when I am at home. This is very niche as far as like the creative process goes, and it's very limiting in a lot of ways, but it's also very helpful in a lot of ways. But I, being an artist, I don't want to just draw in one room during certain times of the day. I want to be able to do art whenever I can, so I'm always going to always going to be practicing in a physical traditional sketchbook. Bottom line, I am never giving up the sketchbook because it is that beneficial to learning and to generating good ideas. Right, the sketchbook. It's always the sketchbook. But and I love sketchbooks. I love paper. But the cool thing is that say I can ideate something in the sketchbook and I can be like, oh, I want to do more with this. I want to mess around with this more. So I can bring it here. I can scan it. I can import it into the program, and I can mess around with it. I can erase bits of it. I can shift parts around with it, and I won't destroy the original. The original idea, the original thumbnail will always be there. And this will sort of allow me to sort of explore different avenues that are not permanent. And so I think that in that way, it'll be a very amazing tool. Yeah. The yapping. So this is this is the Ink 7 brush. All of these brushes, there are different brushes. These are just my favorite brushes. I'm just sort of like showing them off. Duh, right? Sip of root beer. This is a rough brush. So messing around with that previous sketch that I was showing you, I was using a completely opaque, I believe it was a G Pen brush, and it had no dithering, no rough elements. What I like about this one right here is like if I press lighter, it sort of like has this graininess to it, but when you press harder, it sort of darkens, but it also tapers nicely. And I messed around with my pen sensitivities to sort of in order to get it to a point where I'm comfortable with it, not having to press too hard or too soft. This right here is just a marker brush. I like this brush because, for one, it, depending on how hard you press, it's opaque, but also because it's not completely opaque, it layers. I've been looking for like things that I can use for sketching and for inking, and I think this is a good sketch brush, and it's also a good shading brush. I like the squareness of it. I like how it sort of has those hard edges. You can see right here. I like that. So I think this will be really good for like doing like more sketchy types of lines. Nothing for like the final, for the final piece of artwork, but definitely in the creative phase. This right here is a flat rough. I could always just increase the. I need to mess around with pixel sizes. I don't know what a good standard pixel size is for this. I don't like having to drag these things. There has to be an easier way to do that. Let's get it right here. This is a flat rough brush, and it's sort of like another squarish brush, but again, you press harder, it gets more opaque, but it's got sort of, it's a dry brush, essentially. It's a flat, rough, dry brush. Again, this will be good for like texturing, like if I ever wanted to do like different textures, especially like in like hair, you know what I mean? This will be good for like hair, I would think. This is another dry brush. This is bristles. Gets darker when I press harder. Not a lot of size variation, a little bit, but again, it's fun because like I can mess around with textures very easily with this digital medium and not make a mess. It's really easy to like mess around with textures on like physical paper and make a huge mess, which is like part of the charm of the physical medium, but like this allows me to sort of play around with it a bit better. This is another dry brush also. This one I think will be very fun for doing sort of like doing this whole number for shading, but also good for sketching if I ever wanted to sketch with it. Here's a wet paint brush. I thought this one was cool because it's got this very ethereal sort of glowiness to it, which I like, but it also smears because it's considered a wet brush, so it's gonna sort of, if I press lightly, it's gonna pick up the darker, see that? I think this will be very good for like metallic textures, you know? Or even like water, you know what I mean? So like, oh, if I hold this button down, it does a color picker. I didn't know that. But like, if I wanted to do, like, this could be a very cool like water texture, depending on like how I want to use it. That's cool that I have a color picker. I did not know I had a color picker. Not that I want to use a color picker often. I know that that can be a boon or a bane, sorry, for some things, but like that's such a cool brush. I like that brush. Here's a wet paint details. It's the same thing as the wet paint brush, but just smaller. It's a finer tip with less what's the word? Things that with less tapering, I guess you could say. Yeah. This is a blender. This is just a little blender brush. It's important to have, especially if you're blending like different values together, you can create softer gradation. That's cool. Here's a really fun brush that I played around with that I can see myself using a ton. Let me demonstrate with this. Say like I have like a circle here, and I'm like, I want to fill it in. I want to fill it in without the bucket tool, okay? And like I could use the bucket tool, it would work, but I don't have as much control over it. With here, I can, of course, I would have to do some cleaning up, and I could also have a steadier hand, but this will fill that entire shape, basically. Another thing I can do with it, I'll do it again, but with this right here. Let's do that right there. Another thing I can do is it allows me to sort of create. Of course, I can like erase that. I could have closed that out better, but it allows me to create and fill shapes instantaneously. And I could mess around, of course, with the different. I could mess around with the different bits and bobs of it, but this allows me to create and fill shapes instantaneously, and it's got this wacky thing that it does right here. I can't see this aspect of it ever being useful, except maybe for like cool patterns, potentially. I mean, that looks cool, but you can see the use cases of this already. I can fill large sections. I can fill very large sections while still having control around silhouettes within those large sections, if that makes sense. So I can sort of, well, you saw that. I could draw a circle and I could do a triangle within the circle, and I don't have to sort of mess around with a bunch after that, and I can clean it up after that. So like, very excited to use that. Here's a shapes tool. This is kind of like a novelty brush, but I thought this would be a really cool brush to like do some like painting with at some point if I ever wanted to do like a digital painting. I think this could be a very, very fun and interesting brush to use, and it sort of gets darker the more that you use that. That would be very cool for textures. Here we have distort move, which is essentially just it pushes stuff. That's a really cool effect. Oh, it's creating like a little wave. Oh, I will have to remember. That's really cool. So that's what that does. Here's another pen. This is like a quill, like a pen and ink quill. Oh my goodness. Maybe I did it too high. It's called a leaky pen. I don't know what makes it leaky per se. I think it's meant to be smaller. That's why I was on the 4. Okay, yeah, you see it's sort of like this could be a very fun inking pen, but it sort of has some very interesting tapering, especially once you get to here, it sort of bulges out. So I think that could be a very fun pen to play around with. Here we have a screen tones pen. I can raise it. This is a halftone brush. This would be very good for like texturing certain elements, creating halftones. Of course, this is going to be great for like the comic making, for the comic art aesthetic, because this is like when I think of like comics and manga specifically, I think of halftones. I think of these sort of like these things that these gray areas that aren't white or black, and that you can really only achieve digitally. And this is a printing technique. So I'm very excited to be able to use this, and I can mess around with sort of like the shapes of these dots in the program. I've done that before. Show us your favorite brushes, if any. It says above my favorite. Wait, where? Show us your favorite brushes, if any. It says above my favorite. These are the favorite brushes, I think. Because I am in the favorites tab. Is that what you mean? Because I went through all of the brushes and I favorited, because like these are all just like these are like all the ink brushes, and these are all the sketch things. I went through all of these like one by one, and I picked my favorite ones, and that's sort of these ones right here. My favorite ones, obviously, I love the halftone brush. I really like the ink, the rough ink brush. Yeah, sorry, I should have specified a bit more plainly. I like this rough ink brush because it's a dark line, but like it's got some grit to it, you know? It's not completely smooth. I really like the dry ink brush. Again, it has good tapering, but it's also like not perfectly. It's like it's got a lot of roughness to it. Um, for the pencils, the soft pencil is a good sketching pencil. I like the shape fill tool. That's one of my favorites of these. Halftones, of course. Another one, and we'll get down to it. I like the leaves brush right here, and you'll see that. This is just a texture brush. This is sort of more niche. This is sort of like a hair texture brush, and I can't see myself using this to actually draw like full like heads of hair. You know what I mean? Like I'm not gonna sit here and like draw out every strand of someone's hair. Now I could. I like my thing that it'll probably be is that it'll be like, oh, here's like someone's hair, you know, like say do my pieces print out well for what's on the screen? I have not tried it yet. I don't have a printer yet. I need to then the next thing that is on the list is getting a printer in order to like test out. I want to do I want to do smaller like postcard prints to start off with, and then afterwards I want to move on to like larger prints, and I don't know if I need to do that professionally. But with that being said, yeah, the DPI when printing is that the thing that I can control with this program is that I can set the DPI, which means dots per inch. That is the density of of dots, I guess. Like if you're talking about ink, it's the density of dots per an inch of printing space, and it's essentially the higher the DPI means the higher resolution, meaning it's going to print more crisp. You're not gonna have you're not gonna have jagged edges. It's gonna be smooth, essentially. And so while I don't know that these are gonna print well on whatever printer I am going to have in the future, I do know that with the settings that I have at the resolution that my file is at, that they should print decently um, whenever it comes to that. I hope that answers your question. Uh, in other news, not too high because the storage. Yeah, you don't want to do it crazy high. Not even just like file size, but also I don't know if you can see it right here. This is the amount of strain that it is taking on my CPU right now. I believe it's the CPU. So if I'm using sort of if I'm loading a bunch of stuff onto here, it increases the file size, but also like CPU usage. Is that what that is? I think that's what that is. Because if I do different things, then that number goes up or down. It might be the file size, I think. But yes, the higher DPI will typically have higher file size, and there's ways of sort of depending on what file you save it as, it'll encode it differently, and I don't know everything about in like codecs and everything, but just yeah, typically higher resolution, higher file size. Certain it depends on like where you are getting your stuff done. They like certain file sizes are just like too big to share over the internet. So if you're sending stuff over the internet, you might want to shrink that file size by quite a bit. So like this is what I would probably do if I were doing hair texturing. Instead of using like the hair texture brush to do every single strand, you know what I mean? I would block out the shape of the hair, you know, get that silhouette done first, and then I would probably like go through and I would add highlights using using this brush. And of course I don't know exactly how I would do that here, but like your biggest thing when you're doing hair is that's a cool idea. Yeah, thank you. A cool thing or whenever you're working with hair, you don't want to draw every single strand individually. You want to get your big shapes down, and then you add in textures and highlights and shadows afterwards. So like you can even like see there, it's like even it looks awful, I know that, but like you can sort of get an inkling of there being like hair there. So that's what I'm gonna use that brush for. Another one that I have here, let's set the color back. I need to figure out how to do color presets. I could just click on that right there. Notice how in the color wheel up here, I'm using a slightly bluish black. That's because pure black kind of, for one, doesn't ever really exist except for complete darkness. And it looks a bit better when you have like a twinge of like blue for your darks. That's just a personal preference, of course. This is one of my not my favorite brushes, but this is a really cool brush, kind of niche. This might be a good conceptual brush that I can use, but it does little grass stamps. And for one, I like drawing grass. I like hatching grass, so I would be drawing grass a lot. But like, say I was having a thumbnail and I wanted to, instead of drawing the grass myself, I just wanted to see how it would look like real quick with sort of like a grass texture in there. That's what this brush is really useful for. Again, it's like ideation, and then I can go up to sort of my marker, and it's like, okay, like I wanted to sort of have a have a have a tree that's like right here. It is really efficient, and I think that's sort of like the biggest plus about like working with sort of like your digital, is that like the biggest benefit that you can have with this here is that you are going to increase your efficiency in addition to sort of like your learning. It's like, so I'm still going to be learning through my sketchbooks and like trying to I'm still going to be learning through my sketchbooks and like studying theory and everything, but like this is going to help me do things that I couldn't do easily on paper. Case in point, I make it look easy. Well, it is easy on this. This definitely opens up a lot of possibilities, but even just like this right here, I love this brush so much. Of course, I would need to sort of block it in. I already messed up because I lifted up my pen too soon. I could already do this right here. I can silhouette sort of like a tree shape back here. And then I can go in afterwards and I can sort of can create little shadows and such. It's not perfect, of course, but this will help me sort of like do like trees and stuff quicker if I wanted to not sit here and like meticulously like sketch out every single brush. Now this isn't like we all know my style of drawing trees isn't exactly like this. I don't do big like I don't do sort of like these very distinct silhouettes, but I do think that this is like very useful for sort of just like conceptually, like you know, like this is good for like concepts, maybe not necessarily finished pieces, but I can sort of get an idea, a vibe of what it is that I want to do. You like the way I hatch trees and grass looks better than this brush? No, I definitely do too. But like this is just very cool for like I'm thinking like composition. Like this would be very good for like composition. This is a very cool tree. Whenever have you seen a tree that looks like this? um, but yeah, like obviously like I'm going to like adhere to my style of sort of like drawing things. It's just it's like these are all like very neat tools. These are all just tools that I can use to sort of like get done what I need to get done, you know? So it's like, and I need to mess around with like sort of like my eye hand coordination because it's like my hatching like here is like the trajectories are awful, of course, because I've never drawn traditionally, and I'm gonna practice at that whenever I get the chance. See, like that right there, it's like that's awful. But it's like I especially when it comes to like being able to clean up pieces of traditional artwork that I do, like for like a final printing process, like I can go in and I can touch things up. Maybe I like messed up something and I could say, ah, that sucks. I could restart this entire artwork and spend forever on it, or I could just keep going and I could just be like, okay, I'll just touch up that one little part. But it's like I'm still gonna give this piece of artwork my like full effort, like without killing my momentum. Do I find working with color hard or keep it like lead pencils? Um, that depends. So when it comes to obviously I do work like as evidenced by like the sketches that I do. I don't know if you can see that. As evidenced by the sketches that I do, like in my sketchbook here, I I don't work with a lot of color. And I have worked with a lot of color in the past, and you know, you sort of like you mess around and you like there's some color in here. Color theory is not something that I am good at or know too much about. I know a little bit about color theory. But what I do know is that, and I'll pull up this here for reference. What I do know about all art, this is true of whenever you're working with color and when you're not working with color. Colors don't matter in so much is that they have what's assigned to them called values. And a value of when you're relating to color is how light or dark something is. and in order to establish that, we have value scales. So in this value scale right here, we have complete blackness and complete whiteness. But we can also, our value scale, whenever you're working with just pen and ink, your value scale is typically just black or white, but you can change that depending and on how you set your scale. And your scale can range from 2 values, white and black, to a million values, depending on where you set your gradation. So we're going to break this up here into, this is a 4-value system. Leftmost is going to be black, and our leftmost is going to be white. And so what we're going to do is we're going to go in right here, and we are going to create a very rudimentary value system wherein we create this sort of like gradation. And so my point here is that this right here is going to matter 100% more than the specific colors that you choose. Because, and I'll show this to you here, if I were to go with complete red, Critical did a cool video about it, explains if your value is bad, then the painting is bad. That is true. Here's like an interesting thing right here. Here we have red. And then what I'm going to do here is I'm going to completely desaturate it, meaning that I'm going to suck the color out of it, right? We're gonna suck it dry. Essentially, like, we're gonna be turning it like grayscale, not completely grayscale, because it's like everything is gonna, like, I guess it would be like somewhere like, I don't know, how would you even like do grayscale on here? Is there a grayscale filter? Anyways, my point being is that if you take a look at like your red right here, and if you like completely desaturate it, this isn't completely grayscaling it, but it's like, this is desaturating it right here. Do you see how light that is? And then we're going to take a different color that's going to be like over here. We're going to take like a purple or like a dark blue. This is bad because I'm not like doing a grayscale filter, but you have purple right here, and then we're going to sort of, we're going to suck the color out of it. My cat is messing with stuff. Kind of hard to tell here. I guess you would have to sort of mess around with these things right here. This is your hue. This is like your hue, coolness, warmness, and then your saturation, or at least I'm pretty sure what those are. But if you take a look at your values that you have going on right here, this right here is going to be darker than this right here, meaning that, yeah, it becomes a natural color. See, Lizard Wizard over here should be doing the teaching. He's better at getting to the point than I am. But each color that you're going to have on the color wheel is going to have a value associated with. Like, your yellows are going to be very, very light in their value, meaning that it's going to be lighter. This is bad at explaining. It's going to be lighter in value than something, say, like a blue or even a red. So the more important thing is that I think whenever you are first working on color or composing a piece of artwork that is intended to be colored or something that is not going to be colored, you need to break down your image or your painting into your color values and pay attention to those first. Only then afterwards can you worry about the specific colors. And truth be told, if your values are in check, your colors are going to look good no matter what the color it is, so long as it is tied directly to that color. If the value and the color like are harmonizing, in that way. It's not only till that's when color theory comes in. This is part of color theory. Obviously, value is just a small part of color theory, but once you get your lights and your darks mapped out and your colors assigned to them, then you can start playing around with, okay, if I put this color next to this color, how do the colors interact visually? Are there specific moods that are evoked? How does one color change depending on the context? Some colors can look darker next to others. Some colors can look bluer next to others or greener next to others. And this isn't a product of the lightness or darkness of the specific color. This is a product of the way that our brain interprets colors as hues, essentially. And that's sort of the best way that I can break it. That is the long way to say, do I find working with color hard or keep it like lead, like pencil? Yes, I find working with color hard, but only because I find working with value hard as well, which is why I spend a lot of time, like I'm pointing a lot of arrows here. I spend a lot of time focusing and trying to get my values in check, because foundationally I find that to be almost like it's invaluable. I think it's why I love working with pen and ink, because you're forced to work with very limited values and to focus on your overall, your big shapes and your compositions, and sort of making sure everything works on a base level before you go in and start adding all of the details of physical detail, or even color. I would consider color a detail. It's like focus, like the values are very important. You forgot to tell you watched one of the video in the last week, enjoyed it, but I think you got a bug in your channel. I got a bug in my channel, like an ant. So you work light to dark. Is that wrong or just a style? No, I don't think it. It depends on what you're doing, of course. I don't think there's anything wrong with that, honestly. Depending on the medium that you're working with, watercolor, you want to work light to dark, because obviously you can't take water off of you can't take the pigment off of the page. But if you're working with like more opaque paint, like acrylic or even like gouache, depending on how you mix it, it just depends on the medium, of course. Personally, when I work with my values, I work dark to light, meaning that I pick out my dark shapes and I let that inform my negative space. Occasionally, I will go the other way. I will sort of create like a black. I will create like the canvas as being black in my mind, and then you sort of like carve out the negative space around that. So it really does just depend on like the effect that you're going for, and the materials that you're using. No, bug, technical issue. Oh my goodness, what's the technical issue? That's embarrassing. I spend a lot of time worrying that like I like have messed up something with my channel. So if you find something, please let me know. If you find anything that is going to be distracting, it's all distracting to me, and sometimes I don't catch stuff the first go around. So please, if you ever notice anything going on with the channel, unless the bug is that like, oh, I noticed a bug in your channel, it says you have 500 subscribers, like you should have 500k subscribers, in which case that's an awful bug, and we need to eradicate that. One thing I want to do is, in order to cap off the stream, I kind of just want to draw some shapes. I'm gonna import some images here, some basic shapes from this website, and we're gonna draw some basic shapes is what we're gonna do. So I don't know if I can do that from we're gonna insert this as a reference image. You local file. Yeah. We're gonna use this as our thing here. We're just gonna draw some shapes using our brushes here. So use a lot of negative space. Is it hard for you to prepare? I do. It depends. If I'm doing a pencil layer, like a pencil sketch underneath, planning out negative space is really not something that happens on the fly unless you are like incredibly gifted or incredibly trained. Of course, it depends. Sometimes I'll do a pencil sketch. Sometimes I'll do it like on the off the cuff, and sometimes it turns out good. Sometimes it doesn't. It really does just depend. Negative space is one of those things that you kind of just have to get a feel for, especially when like with like composition. Negative space is very important in your artwork. It's what informs your silhouettes. It's what informs like shapes. Uh, Negative space and silhouettes, like your negative space is just as important as like the thing you're drawing, because it is what gives the emptiness is what gives the shape meaning, essentially. Philosophy. Elizabeth says, you got a video named Making My First Comics Part 1, and when the video ends, it's just a private video of you cooking salmon. Well, you watch it, but I think it's a good bug. Like, it's funnier. Wait, no, you don't deserve 500K. Wait, the salmon video is... Wait, that's so funny. Okay, it's not a bug. Okay, it's technically a bug. So what happened is for that video specifically, in the end card, I can set a specific video to recommend to you, the viewer. And for that video, I remember I just I put in a video that I wanted people to watch. And I had made that salmon video where I was cooking salmon, um, and then drawing afterwards because I thought it would be a fun vibe. I thought it would be a fun vibes video. Um, so that's why it's there, and it's not a bug. It's a bug because I privated the video. Or no, I didn't private the video. I unlisted the video. Yeah, I unlisted. It's not private, I don't think. I unlisted the video, so it's still technically on my channel. Um, or maybe it is a private video. It might be a private video. Private or unlisted, whatever. That video was privated or unlisted, and you cannot access it through just like my channel page. So I'm guessing because I have it linked specifically at the end of that video, um, that takes priority, I guess. That is a funny that is like an Easter egg. That's very funny. I like that video, but I just kind of decided that it wasn't the vibe that I wanted the channel to go down, so I kind of just like I privated it. It's unlisted. I can only get the yeah. Okay, yeah. Yeah. Whoever gets the link or suggestion, it's technically on my channel still. I unlisted a few videos just because I was like, maybe they're not the best suit for the channel. So if you ever come across any of those, let me know, because yeah, those are floating around. I think it would be fun to make more. Now that you say that, it would be fun to make more unlisted videos to do in the future for people to sort of do. We're gonna be drawing some shapes, of course. Cowboy, if you are still in the chat watching this video, and this is going to be important because we're going to be talking about negative space right here. We're going to do something interesting right here, just to mess around with stuff, because I am able to now. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do a paint layer, and I'm going to be using bucket tool. I'm looking at the bucket tool. I know I am. Okay. There's the bucket tool. We're actually gonna make this pure black, because I noticed that before. And we're gonna work with white. We're gonna work with white here as our brush. kind of just to show off what I'm meaning by, like, we're gonna talk about negative space. So when we're talking about, still here? Okay, perfect. Yeah, so definitely, like, I want to, this is a good way to talk about negative space because negative space applies perfectly when you are dealing with basic shapes. Negative space thrives off of basic shapes and forms because your mind immediately wants to break down your environment into its composite forms. And when we're creating pieces of artwork, it is very important for us to recognize that and use it to our advantage. Hence why we want to do I don't even know what I'm saying right now. It's important that here that we're working with like these like basic shapes because as you can see right here, we have our shape right here, which is a triangle, but the only reason that this shape is so stark is because it exists within contrast to its background, right? So when we're working with sort of like shapes like this right here, technically in the real world, there is no such thing as a line as I have right here. Line is just a pure fabrication of artists because it's the easiest way to depict an edge, correct? But what if okay, hear me out. We can use both positive and negative space in tandem. It's like line is a cash out mostly. Yeah, it's like a cash out or it's like a hard edge is what I would say. I whenever I think of lines, I think of them as hard edges. Now in practice, do I do that decently? No, probably not. But that's what I tell myself in my head is that line is like a hard edge. I'm gonna turn the opacity down right here for this. Um, but in the real world, there is no such thing as a line essentially. And like this is we're going to be using three values here. Oh, I'm also going to be doing this really cool thing. We're going to be doing what's called an alpha lock, and this is going to sort of like take this shape right here, and I can only draw on this shape. It's a really cool thing that I can do using the power of digital line art. Or just digital art. So like for our values here, we have white and black, obviously, but then we have this little thing in the middle here. This is our third value. We're going to use this as our shadow layer, and I'm pretty much just going to take it, and I'm going to create just like a little line right here. This isn't going to be perfect, of course. Ooh, definitely not going to be perfect. Let's go back with the white. Yeah, it doesn't need to be perfect. But if you see right there, we have completely erased the need to have any line whatsoever. But what we do have in order to inform visual shape language is we have this beautiful thing called negative space. Because no matter where I move this on here, the only thing that gives this form, of course, we have a shadow side right here. That's what gives it depth. But the thing that gives this shape its form it's because of its negative space. No matter where I turn it, this point right here becomes so much more engrossing, so much more visually appealing because of the negative space around it. And I don't know if I have, let me check on my desktop folder right here if I can find any reference image I might have that demonstrates negative space particularly well. I might not. I might not have anything that's like perfect. The closest thing I might have is like I have this picture of a house in here. Reference image. So like see like this image of this house that we have right here. If I were to break this image down into its values, I would have, if we were to break it down into two values, I guess is the better way to describe it. Let me, you know what? We'll go ahead and we'll delete this layer. We'll remove layer. We will remove layer. You know what? We're going to remove that as well, and we're going to come back and we're going to bring it in as a layer like as well. Insert as a new layer. So here we have our house. We're gonna remove this layer also instead of messing around with it. Yeah, we are going to move that on top. Obviously, we're going to take this and we're going to bring the opacity of this layer down. And we're going to be doing this is the stream has become a lesson in talking about negative space. We'll make that. Is that a bit blue? Yeah, it's a bit blue. So we're going to take a look at this right here, and we're going to break this image down into its layers. And this is when you start to get into ideas of like negative space, you inevitably start to bring up ideas of composition, because really all composition is like visual shape language, how things are placed on the thing. So if we are going to break down what we have going on right here, as far as values are concerned, we're going to break this into two values. Yeah, I'm not gonna. I got two values going on right here. We're gonna forget that one back there. And of course, we have trees back here, but I'm just talking about this house here specifically. We're gonna forget. I don't know if I need to fill this in or not, so I'm just gonna, before I do the tool, forget about all of the little nuances in color of our house here, okay? Forget how this is darker than this. Forget how this bush right here is darker than like this grate right here. We're not worrying about that. We're only going to be talking about values here to begin with, and negative space. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to consider this as a single value, and then the rest as, I already messed up. Yeah. What am I doing? I'm in the wrong layer. That's why. Okay. We are also in the wrong layer there. What is going on there? Is there a gap in there? What's going on here? Man, I do not have time. I don't have time. I don't have time to be messing around with this junk. I'm just going to do this instead. We're just going to be breaking down this house right here into its composite values and its composite shapes, right? So first off, so whenever I am like drawing something from life or from an image, I'm thinking of these negative spaces and these shapes more than anything. And so if we're looking at this right here, of course we have our negative space of the sky right here, but in which informs our sharper points of the roof right here. And that's two visually interesting shapes. We have this repeated motif right here of these two triangular shapes. That's visually interesting. But also, if you take a look down here, this right here is also our negative space. but it's not an open negative space in the same way that the sky is right here. This is immensely visually interesting. And this is a simple image, of course, but when we're looking for ways to compose images, or if we're looking for interesting shapes to pick out of the pieces of art that we're doing, we want to look for our shapes. And what I'm seeing right here is our negative space right here is in the shape of a rectangle, which is such an incredibly simple shape that adds a lot of interesting visual variety to our image right here. And now that I have this going on right here, then you can go in and start doing all of like the little details of the house underneath all of it. You can start painting in the, maybe if I want to, getting chilly in my room here. Like, say I wanted to, we're going to create a midtone here. No, you know what? We're not going to create just any midtone. We're going to create a halftone using this halftone brush, which I don't know how big it is. We're going to create a halftone right here. And of course, we're painting over, which is bad. But then you can start to get into all of the other little shapes that you have going on right here. Like another shape that we have, maybe I do need to increase my brush size significantly. Then we can start, thinking about other shapes that we have within our artwork. Oh, it's like, okay, right here we have, same with the bit above it, we have two of these interesting triangular shapes that differ in value from their surrounding composite parts. It's like, okay, we went from like small or big shapes, now we're moving on to like medium shapes, and you can sort of see we're not going to differentiate these right here. We're just going to look at sort of these things right here as being part of it as well. Even this right here, there's gradation here, but it's like, okay, we're going to just consider this as part of the same value range as our midtone. That's a rectangle. This is a rectangle with a triangle. Here's another sort of like interesting triangular shape right here. You're off to sleep. It may be weird, but different time zones, of course. I'm sorry to keep stringing it along right here. I'm just yapping right now, messing around with the program. But thank you very much, Lizard. Again, it's been a fun time, and I hope that you get a good night's rest. You don't miss much more because you typically end live 10 more minutes. Yeah. I usually end it 10 minutes later. I'm actually gonna end it right now, because I am getting quite tired, and I've had a very long day. But I'm gonna end off with this little explication right here. But thank you very much, Lizard. I hope you have a good night. But this is for everybody else who's still watching. Take our paint layer. Good night. Have a good night, Lizard. Please, I hope you get a good night's rest. I know it is very late where you are right now. In other news, I'm painting on the long way. Let's lock that layer so I can't accidentally paint on it. So okay, so what we're looking at right here. Okay, so we have our value. Our values changes right here. Thank you. Yes, you're welcome for ending the stream soon, because I'll agree. I'm getting a little sleepy. I need to get that out of here, and I need to color pick this color. So yeah, like if you look at this right here, when we're getting into sort of like shape design and language, you can break down your negative space into more negative space within your value range. Because it doesn't have to end, negative space doesn't have to be pure white or pure black. You can have negative spaces within your value ranges, because if we were to ignore the white portion right here and just look at like the black right here, this becomes our new value range. We have black, and then this is our lightest color right here. So in essence, this right here, this lighter area becomes our new negative space for this section of the drawing. But if you look at it right here, once you start breaking down the shapes into things that are manageable and recognizable and easier to consume and digest, we effectively have what is triangles and squares. You know what I mean? Like that right there is just a triangle with a square below it. And you can see like how you can go down the ladder of using these shapes and these negative spaces in order to create visually interesting and visually coherent pieces of artwork. So I challenge you, whenever you are painting or drawing anything from life or from an image, think of your image first as if it were black and white, as if it were darks and grays, and then I want you to go through and I want you to, if you can squint your eyes, and I want you to pick out the big groups of light and dark that you can see and start with that. And then you focus on the details. Like for this right here, it's like, okay, now that I have my large foundation set up, then I can go in and I can start doing doors. I can start doing little grates, but it's like this right here is going to set you up for so much success when it comes to your artwork. And it's something that I've been trying to get better at and have been trying to learn through my sketchbooks. And obviously I'm not a genius. I'm not the most gifted person. I still have a lot that I need to work on. But that being said, like it's good that you can be able to recognize these sorts of things and to know that you have something that you can practice on and work towards, and most importantly, like self-reflect, because I think self-reflection when it comes to your artwork, you are your own worst critic, right? It's like I'm going to be the most harsh on myself, and that's a good thing as long as I'm not overly mean. You want to be harsh on yourself. You want to have that imposter syndrome. You want to think that your stuff sucks to a healthy degree, because you want to be able to know that your stuff sucks, but you want to have the taste to know that you can do better and you know what you can improve on. So I want you to tell yourself, yeah, my art is not good, but here's how I can improve. And for me, that is my motivating factor, is that like nothing that I do, I can be satisfied with it, but I will never love it 100% because I know that there's something I could do to make it better and that I can learn from it. And sort of that's the approach that I take when it comes to sort of when it comes to doing art. And that's what this we're gonna bring it back down thematically to digital art. Take a sip of my root beer. That is what the purpose of my foray into the digital medium is. It's not a complete replacement. It's a tool in order to fail more frequently, to fail more efficiently, and to fail to a point where I can just become better, where I can just do better, where I can just do something that is incrementally better than what I did the time previous to that. And I do that through my sketchbooks, I do it through my art, I do it through my writing, I even do it in like the physical realm. Whenever I go to the gym, whenever you are lifting weights, the point is not to go and be like, okay, I'm gonna do 5 curls with 70-pound bar. Okay, 5 curls, I succeeded. I mean, in a sense, yes, but if you reorient the way that you look at it, you say, I'm gonna curl this heavy bar by 5 times, and I know by that 5th time that I will not be able to bring that bar up a 6th time, which in the gym sense
that's a good thing, right? It means that I have exhausted myself to the point where I know I cannot push any further. I have failed. It's called pushing yourself to failure whenever it comes to weightlifting. When you push yourself to failure in the gym, it's considered a good thing, because when you push yourself to failure, you know that means that like I gave it my all and that my muscles are going to respond to that failure by incrementally, bit by bit, building more muscle on top of it, so that next time when I go to failure, I'm not going to do 5 reps of curling that bar. I'm going to do 6 reps this time. And of course, it would be nice to be able to do 9 reps to failure, but from 5 to 6, even over like the course of like we're gonna crunch our like time spans here, but even over the course of like a week, if I can go from 5 sets to, or 5 reps to 6 reps, that is progress. And of course, progress is gonna slow depending on the lift that you're doing or how long you've been doing the lift. But like, I might be doing 6 reps of that weight right now, but if I go on the same trajectory of getting a rep in, of improving week by week, I, previously I was like, oh, 9 reps is a lot. I'm doing 10 reps now. Sure, it's been a month and a half to get me to this point, but like I went from doing 5 reps till failure to doing 10 reps until failure. That's improvement. And so what do you do at that point? Oh, I could like do 20 reps, or I could do 30 reps. I mean, yeah, you could. That's not very efficient. So what do? Oh, you raise the weight of the bar. And suddenly, oh, I was doing 70. I was curling 70, and now I'm curling 80. Well, damn it. I can only do 5 reps again. And so it's sort of that, it's that snowballing, and it's that reiteration, it's that constantly pushing yourself more and more, it's that failing again and again and again, so that you can incrementally become better at that one thing. That it's what you should strive for anything, for weightlifting, for art, for your life. Failure is a tool, so long as you can recognize it, recognize the utility of failure, and systematize it. Put numbers to it. Do whatever it is that you do. Self-reflect on it. Whatever it is that you do, but always just fail as much as you can, because a failure today is going to be a success tomorrow. And that's what this is here. That's what we're doing here with this digital art right here. This is a tool for me to fail at, so that one day I can produce something that that my current day self would be amazed at. And maybe that'll take 5 years, maybe that'll take 10 years, but I got time. I plan on living until I'm like at least like 60. I'm like 20 something right now. If I can, if it only takes me 10 years to like improve a ton, so I have 30 years left to improve even more, or to just be at the point where like my present self will look at and say like, that is amazing. And it's like, yeah, I'm gonna, I have such a long life to live, and if I start now, then like who knows where I'm gonna be at that point. And that's like honestly what keeps me going, and like why I find it so easy to develop habits in like creating art specifically, or even like weightlifting. It's that promise that one day I'm gonna be doing something amazing. Maybe I'm doing something amazing right now. Maybe I'm just being too hard on myself. um yeah, this turned into a philosophy. We're gonna close out of the program here. This turned into a philosophy. We're not gonna save this. It's turned into a philosophy stream all of a sudden. I don't know how that happened. But thank you everybody for watching the stream here today.
It has been an immense pleasure, and I hope that everybody is excited about the direction that the channel is going, because I have been going, of course, I've said this a few times right now, but like I've been going through like a not a creative slump, but like a motivational slump where it's like, you know, just sometimes it gets hard to sort of like do things that need to be done. Things that I want to do, just sometimes it's hard to sort of get the motivation or even the inspiration to get started. But I feel like I'm getting out of that slump here. And being in a slump like that is okay. There's nothing wrong with that. There are always going to be peaks and troughs in your life, and as long as you can recognize that one day you're going to be out of that trough and you're going to be reaching another peak, uh, then it becomes infinitely easier. So I think honestly, I feel like I am getting out of my little depression and my motivation here, and I am looking forward to growing and to producing things that I am excited to produce and I'm going to be happy to produce. Sketchbook tour coming up sometime this next month. Once I finish it, we are going to be doing digital art streams from here on forward. That's like the news, mix of traditional and digital art streams, of course. We'll vote on that on the channel. I'm going to be making a Discord for the channel sometime here soon, so all of you can share your art with me directly, and so all of you guys can communicate with each other even outside of the streams. I am working on a new video essay for a game, and I'm compiling the footage for that. I'm going to start editing that, and I'm going to finish the script on it here sometime in the next few weeks. So look forward to that as well. I'm finishing books. I'm finishing reading like Moby Dick. I've got like 40 chapters left, which sounds like a lot, but it's really only like 100 pages. I'm going to be reading more comics. I just finished Vagabond. The review for that is up on my channel right now. It's in the form of a short. Please go and watch it. I'm going to be reading some more comics. I'm going to be doing more studies. I'm just going to be, we're on the growth train. We are going from rock bottom, and we're soaring higher than we have ever soared before. And I'm so very excited that all of you, I'm getting emotional. I'm getting emotional right now. That there are 500 people out there that decided to click a little button that says maybe I would like to see more from this person in the future. That warms my heart beyond belief. It's a feeling that I don't know if I've ever experienced before. And it's not that I don't place all of not that I place all of my self-worth in like recognition or just like you know, people giving me praise or anything, but it's one of the things that motivates me. And thank you for being along for the ride. Yeah, here's to 1,000 subscribers, and then after that, hopefully 1,000,000. We're shooting for 1,000,000 subscribers by the end of the year, so please tell all your friends, tell your friends, to the handful of people that are watching this. Tell, if you could all tell 250,000 of your friends to subscribe to my channel, we'll reach 1,000,000 by the end of the year. Easy peasy. Have a good night, everybody. We'll see you same time next week. Bye bye.